This is the Ballroom State of Mind podcast, episode 128, Problem Avoiding versus Problem Solving. Well, it has been a while, my friends. How are you? I've been getting some messages from people finally that are like, hey, are you okay? Where are you? Somebody sent me a message and said, or maybe it was posted in my Joyful Ballroom group, but it was like, the last podcast I can find is May 28th. Is everything okay? Am I missing something? So I think it's time to do a podcast. And I definitely have been missing you. I have definitely been missing doing these podcasts on the regular. I'm certainly going to get back to it. I'm thinking that I'm probably going to take August and like do one if I feel like it. And then I'm going to hit it a little bit harder in the fall. And I do have an update for private coaching. So, and what I'm going to be offering here in the next month or two. I had some initial plans and I'm going to alter them a little bit, but I'm going to talk about that at the end of the episode because I really want to get into this. So make sure you stay till the end to hear those updates because I think you're going to like what's coming. All right, so let's talk today about problem avoiding versus problem solving. And in some ways, this might sound like something I've talked about before in a little bit different way, but sometimes we need to hear it again. And it's been a while since we've heard it. And sometimes I need to say it in a little bit different way for people to like latch onto it or find a tool and a way of thinking about it that works for them. So today we're talking about problem avoiding versus problem solving. And this is so common. I hear from all of you so much about your fears. We talk a lot about our fears and what we don't want. And what we don't want and what we fear leads us to avoiding things rather than solving them. So maybe you've caught yourself saying, like many dancers, what if I mess up? This is like the most common thing I hear is like, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to forget my choreography. Like, I don't want to go blank. I have so many dancers that come to me and talk to me in often their first session, and they think this is like an anomaly that only happens to them. And so I have to tell you, no, everybody has these moments where your brain just like drops out because it's under pressure and you forget things. Okay. And it does not matter sometimes how extensive your preparation is. The brain just does weird things. We do definitely want to do that, big level of preparation, whatever we can. That's always going to benefit you the most. But even being extremely prepared, you will have those moments. But we focus on that and we think about that and we sort of nurture that in our mind and we ruminate on it. Okay. We think about, what if I mess up? What if I forget the routine? What if in the middle of performing, I lose my place and I can't think? What if I'm never going to get this? What if I'm just not going to be good at this? What if I disappoint my coach? What if he fires me as a student? And then instead of preparing for all of those moments, you just sort of spin in anxiety about them and you just sort of hope it won't happen. Our brains are very good at this. They're very good at identifying potential problems, identifying potential issues in the future, but then leaving it hanging, so to speak. It thinks about those things, it ruminates on those things, but it doesn't necessarily solve for them. It's an open-ended question. So don't forget that when your brain is asking questions like this, it's not really answering them. It's leaving them open-ended and it's generating a lot of anxiety. When your brain thinks in questions, it's generating a lot of anxiety for you and uncertainty. And to me, this just feels like we're suspended in like a doom cloud. We're recognizing that there might be dangers, and we're right about that. Our brain is right about that. There might be dangers. I might forget. I might mess up. But we're not taking the next step of like necessarily addressing or creating a potential solution for them. So we just hang here emotionally because you still might be going to lessons and practicing and working on things and watching videos, but emotionally, it's sort of like in the back of your mind, we're still kind of waiting to see if that other shoe is going to drop. Okay. And so think about that. Do you recognize that sort of emotional state of knowing there's potential problems, but then not really doing anything about it and be feeling sort of suspended emotionally. So if you're identifying potential problems, but you're not working out solutions, then you might be problem avoiding. This might look like kind of looking the other way and busying yourself with other things. And sort of like, maybe that will just go away, or maybe that will just, never materialize if I just pretend. But this episode is about shifting out of problem avoidance and into problem solving. And it's about moving from that sort of weaker, hesitant, doubtful stance to one that is braver, more grounded, more resilient. So think about this in terms of stance, the way you are, the way you feel, the way you approach things. And when we're problem avoidant, we're like resisting, we might be hiding. Okay. Whereas problem solving is a little more forward moving. We've also talked about this in previous episodes really early on as an approach mindset rather than an avoidant mindset. So consider that. And hopefully by the end, you're going to walk away with a new mindset, seeing this more as like, I want to be more of an approach mindset. I want to be more of a problem solver than a problem avoider. So I also want to give you a couple of practical tools to help you shift into that stance. So let's talk first about the mindset of problem avoidance. And we've really kind of already hit it, but I just want to like really tie it in a bow. Okay. So let's name what actually problem avoidance might look like. So you might be problem avoiding if you're ruminating over mistakes that might happen. You might be ruminating on forgetting choreography. Colliding with another couple is another one. But what if I run into people, or what if they run into me? Or you might be worrying about forgetting or not applying what your teacher or coach taught you previously. This can show up in lessons, like when you're going to go show them what you've been working on, and it might not be good enough, or they might still think it's wrong. And we're kind of like avoiding that emotionally. We're ruminating on that, ruminating on the problem, ruminating on what we don't want. And ruminating is where we're just like rehearsing those negative thoughts. And in a way, it feels productive because it's sort of an active brain, but it's also just rehearsing it. And it feels almost like we're solving it by thinking about it, but it's circular. It's going. We're ruminating. Okay. Another symptom maybe of problem avoiding is that you're holding back in practice. Your teacher is asking you to do something and you are hesitant. You might even feel a little bit scared to do it. And this might especially be true if your teacher tends to like get after you or be a little bit intense with you when you're not getting it, or they seem frustrated when you're not getting it. Then that's definitely going to make you feel hesitant to try. Okay. So you might be holding back in practice so that you don't mess up, because messing up might elicit a reaction out of them that we don't like. Another symptom might be that you avoid asking for feedback because you're afraid of what you might hear. It also might look like not looking at videos, which can be a whole other issue, but it feels a little bit like, don't ask for feedback. Like, don't ask, don't tell. Let's just keep dancing. Don't look too close. Don't look too deep. We're avoidant, right? So you might also be telling yourself, I'm just going to practice more. I'm just going to do more actions. I'm going to do more practice, more lessons, more coaching, instead of making a plan for the specific things that you're afraid of. So consider this: problem avoidance is reactive in a way, because you see a problem or issue, you're aware of it, but you react by not approaching it. And this keeps you small. It focuses on trying not to have something happen. This is also the difference. If you think about this is also the difference between like playing to win and playing to not lose. And they have a very different stance. They have a different feeling. So problem avoidance focuses on not having something happen. But a lot of times we can't control that, which is also why it's very disconcerting and stress producing and anxiety producing. We might want to not feel something, not feel bad, not look bad, not make a mistake, rather than trying to create something, grow something, do something, and have a solution. So I want you to keep thinking about this idea of stance and what an avoidant stance looks and feels like versus a approach or problem solving stance. What problem avoidant creates is hesitation. You'll feel more freeze. You might overthink. You procrastinate. You try to be invisible. You might feel like I want to get on the floor and just like get off. I've noticed this where my teacher kind of wants me to do things again and again. And I'm just like, okay, yeah. I'll work on that on my own. And I can tell I'm avoiding it. Okay. Like maybe they won't notice. You're putting your energy into protecting yourself, maybe hiding, being invisible, rather than moving forward. And all of this is okay. You can actually make a lot of progress from this place. We've all done it. But it does slow you down and you're not improving as you could. And I think a lot of us are chasing that feeling of freedom when we dance. That's what we want. That's kind of why we're here, is we want to be able to let go and really express and feel free. And so we don't want to feel this avoidant, fearful kind of stance. So that's the cost, is that it makes it harder for us to become the dancer that we want to be. You're not going to enjoy it as much. And worst of all, I just feel like problem avoidance makes you seem fragile, like you can't handle it or something. And you start to at least subconsciously see dance or performing as something that can harm you. Okay, your primitive brain might already have started a story that you're in danger in some way. And so being avoidant reinforces that. And then when you do hold back, as you might expect in these kind of conditions, you won't give your whole self to it. And your progress is going to slow, and your dancing is not going to be as good as you've even seen it in practice versus performance. And you're going to have more experiences that you perceive as negative. And that's going to confirm this whole story that we're dangerous and that we're fragile and that dancing can hurt us and the experiences can hurt us, what physically, emotionally, in all kinds of ways. I had a client who was so deep in this cycle that she was literally fainting. Like she would be in lessons and she would start to shake and her blood sugar would drop or whatever. And she would like have to go sit down because she felt faint and even had passed out. And she could not dance anymore until we unwound that. So this can get very intense for us when we're not managing it. But here's the truth, and I want you to hear this. You're not fragile. You're very strong. You're very brave. You're very courageous. You can handle it. You're not fragile. You're not in mortal danger. Okay? There's always, in life, in dancing, everything, there's always outcomes and situations that you might not want, but you can handle them. You're just a little bit stuck in the habit of avoiding that, avoiding the discomfort, rather than meeting it head on. And you can change that. So let's talk about the power of problem solving. Let's talk about what it looks like to be a problem solver. And already problem solving feels proactive. Like think about how long you might sit in indecision or you might sit in confusion. And as soon as you start to make decisions, you can take steps forward and we automatically start to feel better. Problem solving is strategic and it takes courage. So instead of asking, what if I fail, and leaving it there, you ask, what will I do if I fail? In fact, what will I do when I fail? Because newsflash, we all fail all the time, every day. Okay, so what will you do if and when this scary thing happens? How will I respond? What's my plan? So let's say you're afraid of forgetting your routine. This is not news to you. We've talked about this before if you've been listening to the podcast. This might also be the first time anybody's listened to this podcast. So I want to reiterate it. But let's say you're afraid of forgetting your routine. Instead of replaying that fear in your head, you decide, if I lose my place, I'm going to what? I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to do my best to stay in character. I'm going to improvise. I'm going to shoot my deer in the headlights look at my partner, who will then signal and know that I'm lost. And we will have a plan that we either start over or that I'm going to give my control over to them in that moment and let them kind of drive me around the floor until I find my place again. Like maybe I'm just going to discuss with my teacher, my partner, and we're going to plan for what we do next. Do we need a cue word, like a code word that's like, crap, like I'm lost. I need help. Like rescue, like I need help. What's our plan? Okay. And then when you have the plan, just knowing there is a plan, just knowing you have considered it, just knowing you have that in place, even if it doesn't come along perfectly like we plan that plan, just knowing there is a plan is a little more powerful. It's a little more proactive. You've thought about it and you're not avoiding it. Okay. Just knowing you have a contingency plan settles your brain more than just hoping it won't happen. And just kind of an aside, there is a podcast on contingency plans that involve a lot of visualization and kind of helping walk you through some of that process of really creating a solution to what you think might happen. Okay. So you can go look for that one. I don't remember what number it is. Recently, I was watching, doom scrolling, and I saw a quote from Jordan Peterson, and he's a super well-known therapist. And he was talking about PTSD and he was talking about some other things. But what he said that gave me pause was he said, we should be voluntarily confronting the dragon that burned you. Okay. Voluntarily confronting the dragon that burned you or could burn you. And I think the word voluntarily is key because we all have to face dragons at one time or another. And those are often thrust upon us. But when you voluntarily confront the dragon, it's a choice. It's an approach. And what it means is stop running from what you fear. Stop hiding. Turn around and face it. Walk toward it on purpose. You are good enough. You are brave enough. You're strong enough and smart enough to figure it out and strong enough and smart enough to handle it. Even if it goes to hell in a handbasket, you can recover because you're not fragile. You're going to learn from everything that happens. You're going to apply it and you're going to move forward stronger and better for having the experience. So you don't need to fear any of this. Okay. The moment that you take this like approach, this problem solving approach, confronting the dragon that could burn you, everything shifts. You're no longer dancing from fear. There's always going to be a little bit in there sometimes, but you're not consumed by that. You're dancing from a stronger place. You're dancing from strength, from belief, from purpose, resilience. When we're avoiding problems, this is a weaker, hesitant stance. I know you can see it. And again, many things can be solved from that place, from an avoidance stance. But an approach stance, a problem-solving stance, is powerful and it's focused. And you can guess which one is better for you on the dance floor. So let's talk about just kind of lastly, like why this matters. Let's bring it to the context of ballroom. When you're problem avoiding, your dancing is going to be tight. It's going to be uncertain. You're going to be more anxious in your brain. It's going to be harder to hang on to like choreography or things that you're trying to kind of maintain consciously. And you're so focused on not messing up that you probably are going to mess up. And you also just can't be present. You pull back. You might be going through the motions instead of actually performing, actually being in the moment. And you're being careful and you're being safe. Again, not wrong. Don't judge yourself for that. I just want you to see it. And you're just self-protecting, and we can understand that. Because remember, our subconscious is still probably believing on some level that we're unsafe and we're fragile. But when you're a problem solver, you show up differently. You're going to be able to take more risks, meaning I'm willing to be socially injured. I'm willing to be embarrassed. I'm willing to make mistakes. I'm willing to look bad to a degree, which for most of you is only about 10% or less of that time that you're on the floor. But you can allow yourself to fully express. You and your partner can dance with courage. You bring your whole self to the floor. And here's, again, Here's what I want you to take away from this. You're not fragile. You're not too sensitive. You're not too sensitive to fail. You can handle failures. You can handle mistakes. You can handle problems. Sometimes I talk to my clients. I was recently talking to one and we were talking about this. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm just realizing I'm such a good problem solver. I'm a really good problem solver in my life. I have lots of evidence that I'm not afraid. I have lots of evidence that when I'm presented with a situation, I can figure out what to do and carry it out. I just haven't been applying that in my dancing. And I was like, 100%. You guys you know how to solve problems. Okay. You're not too broken. You can handle disappointment. You can handle your own emotions. They're not dangerous to you. You are a human being in training, and you're becoming more resilient every time you show up with a mindset of solving, approach, confronting that dragon instead of avoiding and hiding. So let's get practical. Here's how you're going to apply this. You're going to shift from problem avoiding to problem solving. And the first thing is you're going to take step one and identify your avoidance pattern. So ask yourself, where am I hesitating? Where am I holding back? Where am I feeling that avoidance? Like you might not even identify it as fear, because I don't necessarily identify it myself as fear in the moment, but I definitely notice when I'm avoiding something. So when is that? Is it when you're getting corrections in a lesson? I feel that when I have a lesson that's particularly technical and I'm getting a lot of correction over and over and over again, I feel myself starting to be avoidant and frustrated, and I want to just get out of there. And so that's a clue to me that I got to like take a look and see what's going on for me. Okay. Is it when you think you might embarrass yourself? I hear this a lot. I would be so embarrassed. I just don't want to be embarrassed. Okay. Is it when you think you might let someone down? Are you afraid you're going to let a coach down, a teacher down, a partner down? Or is it when you're worried about what people think of you? Where are your kind of fearful, avoidant moments? Just naming this, step one, becoming aware of your pattern, seeing it, just naming it. Oh, I'm avoiding something here. I'm avoiding a problem. What is it? That starts to dissolve it. You already have a little bit more power over it because you can identify it. Step two is make a plan. So take that fear and ask, what will I do if that happens? So let's say your fear is that I'm going to blink out during the routine. Then your plan is I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to stay connected and improvise till I find my place. The fear is, what if my teacher keeps correcting me and I get frustrated and emotional and I don't want to do that? Then our plan might be, I'm going to remind myself that corrections aren't personal. I'm going to take some deep breaths. I might excuse myself for a minute to collect myself and take those deep breaths and use a couple tools on myself to like bring my nervous system back to like a reasonable place. And I might need to go to the bathroom and do this. Take a minute, go outside and get some fresh air and regroup a minute. Just excuse myself for a minute. Okay. What's your plan when you see a problem that you're avoiding? Step three is maybe when you go to that bathroom, you practice a brave stance. You guys have probably heard of this. It's a confidence building stance. I know, what's his face? Tony Robbins has talked about this, but you visualize yourself turning toward the thing that you fear. You put your hands on your hips and you stand strong and you open your chest and you keep your chin high and your head high and you stand there for a couple minutes and you take those deep breaths. Okay. And I think it's 2 minutes minimum, something like that. Imagining yourself confronting this fear, helping your nervous system be brave and confident. Okay. It helps you get rooted and grounded and focused. And you literally stand in that posture. And you might say things like, I can face this. I can face what I fear. I can confront this. I can handle discomfort. I can handle this. I can solve this. I don't need to avoid it. Listen to all the I cans instead of what ifs. Okay. That's so important. Your language. I can voluntarily confront this dragon that could burn me. or I can voluntarily confront the dragon that did burn me, and I can create a plan. So step 4, last one, celebrate imperfect application of this. Celebrate imperfect action. So every time you confront a fear, give yourself credit. Journal it, talk about it, tell somebody about it, say it out loud. You don't have to be fearless to be powerful. Confronting a dragon, so to speak, is scary. Okay. It takes a lot of courage. You just have to choose to face that fear on purpose. And remember that courage requires some fear to even be courage. Embedded in the courage is fear and doubt. Otherwise, you wouldn't need courage. So just start doing it, working through it, even if it's imperfect. And when it's imperfect, even if it's ugly, even if you can't do it all of the time, celebrate it when you do turn and face the things that you fear. Just use this approach and problem solving 10% more, just 10% more. Celebrate that. Okay, that's progress. That's definitely enough to shift things for you. So here's what I want you to take away. And then I'm going to let you go. Resilience and success, it doesn't come from avoiding mistakes, obviously. Confidence doesn't come from never messing up. Confidence comes from putting yourself out there, making mistakes, having things go imperfectly, failing, and getting up and doing it again, because you start to see what you can do. That builds confidence. Power comes from confronting the things that scare you and building trust in your ability to respond to them. It's not that those things are not going to happen. It's what are you going to do when they do? Okay, that builds strength, resilience, power, and success. Avoidance, putting your head in the sand, looking the other way. Again, no judgment. We're just protecting ourselves. That's okay. And it is going to keep you dancing small. But problem solving, approaching and confronting those areas that scare you, that's how you're going to become the dancer and the person that you want to be. So this week, just notice something that you're avoiding, a problem you're avoiding. It doesn't even have to be in dance, in your life, in your relationships, in your job, friendships. Ask yourself, what's my plan? What would it look like to face this with strategy and self-trust? What would it look like to voluntarily confront the dragon that could burn me? You're not here to dance small. Dance literally and metaphorically. You're not here to be small and shrink yourself. You're here to grow, and you're brave enough to confront these dragons that could burn you. So thank you for being here. I'll catch you next time. Oh, before I end, here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I've decided to do, because I've been wanting to do group coaching, kind of like a more of a group situation. But I've decided I have a part-time job that I've had for nearly the last year. I'm quitting it. It was 3 days a week, and I'm quitting it so that I could throw myself into this more deeply. That's going to free up more time for me again. So I'm going to reinstate the private coaching, but I'm going to add something to it, and I'm going to do both. So I'm going to reopen very soon private coaching. It's going to look similar to like what it did before. For brand new clients, it's going to look like usually a 3-month commitment. It's usually 6 sessions over 3 months. And that's the initial like package that we do. It's the perfect amount to get you started. I've coached hundreds of dancers. I've done 12 weeks. I've done 3 weeks. And the perfect amount is 6 sessions every other week for 3 months to start. That's what I figured out. But here's what I'm adding to it. I'm going to add a group coaching call. So everybody who's in private coaching also will get added to the group. Okay. And we're going to have to start probably 1 call a month. That's a group call. And I have very specific reasons that I want to do this. I've been in lots of memberships where I've participated in the memberships and also coached inside these memberships. And group coaching is very transformative. It helps you build a community. It helps you get to know one another. And I feel really strongly that you guys need some connections amongst yourselves, and I want to help facilitate that. So the group coaching is going to be totally included in the private coaching. Okay. And if we need more than once a month, I'm going to start adding calls, and the price won't go up. Okay. So if we need one call a week in the group, we'll do that. But I'm going to start it with one call a month. And if you are alumni, if you are a previous client, you've done that 6-week or 6-session, 3-month thing, you're going to get to just be in the group portion if you want. You don't have to buy another package. And I'm going to explain more of that another time. I'm going to be sending an email out very soon about that. Right now, I'm just trying to find a place to house the group part. But anyways, that's like a teaser. That's an introduction. I'm working out some of the details still. I want to do this probably by September. Okay. So I can't promise any dates because I just can't. I'm trying to unload this job and get it all lined up for you. So, but that's the update. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for all your patience and understanding. And I love it. So many of you have reached out and asked what I'm doing and wanted coaching and wanted private coaching and just wanted to be a part of what was next, and just missing the podcast. I've gotten a few of those messages just like, please come back. It's my favorite. So thank you for all of that and for all of your support. And we'll talk again soon.